Joseph?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just doing combos.
I know I complain about it pretty much every single video at this point, but it's so frustrating that Phantom Nightmare is going to go down in history as the Snake Eye set. There's just so much in it that just radically changes how we think about and play other decks as well. Decks that unfortunately just can't bring down Diabellstar. One of those decks is what we're looking at today, Aroma.
No, I actually might go back to plants.
So here's the list, which is unsurprisingly Sunseed Jesses from OTS Champ season. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the #1 place to go if you need a pack simulator, a card database, or want to read a wealth of strategy articles. They also post breakdowns and lists from every major TCG and Master Duel tournament, including the Master Circuit series. Give them a look at www.ygoprodeck.com. So with that, let's assess Aramage. First and foremost, we should talk about the elephant in the room. This deck bears a lot of resemblance to Plant Link, a strategy that's been on and off playable for the last couple of years. By converting a normal monster, Sunseed Genius Loci, into a wide array of extra deck material, this deck is usually the combo deck in the format with the most potential to go wide, putting up 2017-style 47 million negate boards through just about anything. Despite the fact that basically one woman ever has been anything resembling consistently good at this strategy, Konami decided that enough was enough and hit it pretty extensively on the last list, pruning its combos by limiting Sun Avalon's Dryas and Healer. But the empty space in this strategy wasn't empty for long. Nourished from the compost of now limited cardboard, 5 new Aramage cards were released in Phantom Nightmare. 4 of them, Aroma Lilith Rosalina, Aroma Blend, Aroma Lilith Rosemary, and Aroma Lilith Magnolia, are playable and play very nicely with Plant Link's existing combos. By giving the deck consistent access to the Aroma cards by way of Aromaseraphie Jasmine's soft once-per-turn search, the deck can, as ever, end on a ridiculous board, this time layering interaction through Ricka Traps, continuous wins, a flexible Hyperratin, and more. So with that, let's get into the card by card. I'm not going to speak too at length about cards that aren't Aromaseraphies, just because they are already familiar to people who know how Plant Link works, but I'll still aim to give you a little bit of an overview. Let's begin with the Sunseeds. We've got Genius Loci and the individual cards that you'll be searching off of it. Sunvine Sowing off of the Dryas, and Sunseed Twin as the sowing target. This represents an unbelievable amount of Link material, and as a result, we're not only playing the 3 normals, we're playing 3 unexpected die to get there. For Aromas, we have 3 copies of Aroma Lilith Rosalina. They are just printing more circulars for plants daily. As a quick, you can discard this card, then target an Aroma monster you control, gain life points equal to half its attack, and if it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon a non-tuner Aroma from your deck. Also, you are locked for the rest of the turn into plants. We've got 2 copies of Aramage Laurel. No Yanni, unfortunately. If your life points are higher than your opponent's, you can special this card from your hand, and if you gain life points, target a non-tuner plant. It's a tuner until the end of the turn. Importantly, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can gain 500 life points, which means if it's Link material for Aromaseraphie Jasmine, it will immediately trigger it. We've got Aromaseraphie Angelica as well. During either player's turn, you can target an Aroma in your graveyard, pitch this card, and gain life points equal to its attack, and while your life points are higher than your opponent's, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. It's an extender, it triggers on both players' turns, it's just all around fantastic for the strategy. 3 copies of a new card, Aroma Blend. Discard a card, put a Human Winds, Dried Winds, or Blessed Winds from your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap card zone, and it can be banished from the graveyard to fusion summon a plant fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing its materials from your hand or field or graveyard, provided your life points are higher than your opponent's. The target for this is going to be Humid Winds, which allows you to pay 1,000 life points to add an Aroma from your deck to your hand, immediately recouping the advantage that you lost off of pitching for the blend, and if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can gain 500, which enables you to trigger the effects of your Aramages on your opponent's turn as well. Next up, we have the Rickas. Ricka Princess, of course, incredibly powerful, a negate and a really strong extender. 2 copies of Mudon, which gets you into any Ricka spell trap. We've got Ricka Petal. This card is how your grind game usually manifests. Your opponent is going to clear your field, only for you to activate Ricka Petal at the end step and threaten something like a Tributing Teardrop on your opponent's turn in a simplified board state. We've got Primula, which can summon itself if a monster is tributed, important for a number of combo lines, and Snowdrop the Ricka Fairy, which modulates to 8 and makes Teardrop possible. After that, we've got 2 copies of Concon, which allow you to tribute your opponent's monsters as your own and search spells. Speaking of, here's Ricka Glamour and Ricka Sheet. When I talk about layered interaction, this is what I'm talking about. An opponent might have a Dark Ruler no more, but they're not going to be able to also contend then with a trap card that interrupts them. For the Therions, we have a very small package, 1 Regulus, 3 Lilyboria, and 1 Disco, and a Lone Wildfire Blossom, which is extremely important for setups, which really take advantage of Aromaseraphy Jasmine. We've got 3 copies of Small World because you really need to be able to pivot into each individual part of your combo, and this is a card that allows you to do that. And then Non-Engine, 1 GAMCL, available off of Small World, of course, 1 1-for-1, triple Tactics Talents, 3 Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, 3 Ash Blossom Joy Spring, 3 Veiler, 3 Mourner, and 3 Infinite Impermanence in the extra. We've got 1 apiece of Dryas and Healer. Unfortunately, the maximum copies we're allowed to play. 1 copy of Malias, and that does it for our Sun Avalons. That's very new. After that, we've got 3 copies of Aromaseraphy Jasmine. Now, this looks like a lot, and you might be thinking, oh, extra deck space is loose. We're playing this because they might, like, cash tier a Unicorn, one of them away. You will be summoning all 3 of this card, frequently in the same board state. Hopefully you'll get to see it in the games. We've got 2 copies of Strenai, the Rika Queen, 1 copy of Hyperatin, 1 copy of Teardrop, 1 copy of Dance Peony, in case you need to get it twisted, Bengal Lancer, SP Little Knight, and the new cards. Aroma Lilith Rosemary, if special summon allows you to add an Aroma card from your deck to your hand, and if you gain life points, you can special summon up to 3 Aroma monsters from your hand to your zones this card points to. You contribute a monster this card points to, target a card on the field, banish it, and gain 1,000 life points. Finally, we've got Aroma Lilith Magnolia. Remember, because your life points are likely going to be higher than your opponent's, this is kind of just a free body off of the back half of an Aroma blend. While your life points are higher than your opponent's, plant monsters you control can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and once per turn you can pay 2,000 to banish cards on the field equal to the number of humans, Dryades, and Blesseds wins you control. Then once per turn, if you gain life points, you can make all plant monsters you currently control gain attack equal to the life points until the end of this turn. Very hard to kill through this baddie. In the side, we've got 3 copies of Dimension Shifter, 1 copy of Predaplant Spider Orchid. This was really popularized by Jess, but I just absolutely love it. 3 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust, 3 copies of Soul Release, 3 Evenly Matched, a Harpy's Feather Duster, and a Called by the Grave. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Tearlament. If any deck's going to be able to play through the end board, it's going to be this one. Our hand is weird. It does have a way to Sunseed Genus Loci, so I can't complain too much, but it also has Sunseed Twin. Like, we're playing 60 cards, we found the Garnet, whatever. We do have a normal summon at our disposal, so we're just going to go Loci into Dryas, into Sowing, into Loci. Take 1,000, we'll trigger the effect of the Dryas in order to summon from our extra a Healer, which we will use to target the Dryas and gain another 300. From here, we can go into a Jasmine, then normal summon the Sunseed Twin, summoning back this copy of Genus Loci before going into another Jasmine, activating Jasmine's effect for a Rosalina, and Rosalina's effect to get a Laurel from deck. From here, we can make the 3rd Jasmine, trigger the Laurel effect, gain 500, and 1 search, 2 searches, 3 search, We'll go into an Angelica and a Mudon, and of course a Snowdrop as well. We'll go for Angelica here to gain 800 life points, then Angelica's Graveyard effect to summon itself. Next, we're going to make a copy of Rosemary. We'll activate her effect in order to grab an Aroma blend, and finally go Malias in order to summon a Loci. This allows us to get a Bengal Lancer on the field, which we can immediately tribute for a Mudon, getting us a copy of the Ricochet because we already have the Con. We'll go Con here in order to set a copy of Glamour, and then afterwards we'll activate Glamour, tributing the Mudon for 2 cards, one of which is a Primula, which triggers, and then the Princess we can just summon for free for some reason. We'll go for a copy of Strenai here. We'll trigger the effect of the Strenai. We'll just go ahead and get back this Laurel, and then go Snowdrop, tributing the Strenai and summoning out the Laurel and herself. The Strenai triggers, getting us a Hyperatin, and then of course we will modulate levels, so we can go into a Teardrop the Rika Queen, finally ending with a Bengal Lancer. Now it's time to do the Aroma half of the deck. We're going to go ahead and get a Humid Winds, take 1,000 in the process, and grab ourselves another Rosalina. We'll activate the Graveyard effect of Blend and the Graveyard effect of Sacred High Beast Paratin for a spell negate. That is our end board, and our opponent is going to try to chew through it. We will negate the spell our opponent activates first, Primeval Planet with Hyperatin. They're going to draw off of their triple tack. They get a Fenrir, which is prime food for Teardrop the Rika Queen. We're going to go ahead and gain some life points. They're going to normal summon a Rhino Heart and send a Sheer into the graveyard. We are going to let this resolve, including the King of the Swamp. Ooh, was not expecting the Kaleido Heart so quickly. Well, we'll go Ricochet here in order to take it. Then afterwards, we are going to gain some attack on this Teardrop. They'll go for the Skarmographus and then summon out a Happy, activate the Graveyard effect of Unchained Soul of Shyama, which will be checked by our copy of Princess. We will gain a little more attack on our Teardrop, and they will concede. So that's how the deck performs on the play, but what does it do on the draw? Our opponent for Game 2 is playing Voiceless Voice, and they are going first. You can see we've opened not only no non-engine, we also have like 4 cards in our hand that we want to search over the course of the combo. Frustrating. They're going to go Diviner into Trios into Low. They're going to activate the effect of the Low. That's going to grab them to the back row a copy of Barrier. They'll activate Barrier in order to go ahead and get the big boy. Then they'll Saphira. Next, they're going to activate Saphira's Graveyard effect to perform a Ritual Summon. Out comes Skull Guardian. We're going to use its effect and the effect of Low. Low comes back, and then afterwards we can go ahead and shuffle 2 of those bad boys back in for the Sauravis. They will pass turn, and, well, that's pretty good. good. We're going to begin with a copy of Lone Fire Blossom. We'll activate Lone Fire. They will Soravis here so that afterwards they have access to the Ancient and Ascended. We'll summon a Rosalina. We'll activate the Rosalina's effect. Unsurprisingly, that's going to fiend the Skull Guardian. Well, from here we can go Lily Borea, targeting this copy of our Lone Fire Blossom. Then we'll activate Lily Borea for a Disco. We'll activate Disc Coliseum and get a copy of Regulus and Lily Borea to hand, so we can then Regulus in order to equip the Lily Borea and go for 1/1 with the Negate up. We're going to go for a Dry Ass off of our Genus Loci. They are going to Soravis. Unsurprisingly, we will respond with Regulus and hope that it works. And are we getting away with this? All right, sure. We're going to go Sunvine Sowing into a Sunseed Twin. We'll trigger the effect of the Twin and the Dry Ass in sequence. We're going to gain 1,000, then an additional 300 to Resolution from this healer. We summon 2 monsters to our side of the field via the effect of the Sunseed Twin. Let's go Jasmine, tribute this copy of Loci, get a Laurel, and make a second Jasmine. And that's 1 search. 2 searches. It's not 3, but it should be enough. We'll get Mudon and Angelica. Angelica here, targeting the Laurel, then Angelica summoning itself. Next, we're going to go into a Rosemary, trigger the effect of the Rosemary in order to grab a Blend, and activate Blend, pitching this copy of Sheet to put the Humid Winds from hand onto the field. It's unfortunate, but it does work. Laurel effect will go into a Malias in order to get a Loci and bring out Bangalancer, and we'll tribute the Bangalancer for the Mudon. You've already seen this combo once, but yeah, I'm going to make you see it again. Con looking really good here. It gets us a copy of Glamour, and you know what? Let's just go ahead and tribute that Mudon so we can trigger the effect of our Primula and our Rika Princess afterwards. Next, we're going to overlay for a Strenai. We'll activate the effect of the Strenai in order to snag back our Circular, then Twin in order to Aroma Seraphy Jasmine, Bangalancer in order to eventually bounce, and Blend in order to make a big girl. We're going to activate the effect of the Aroma Seraphy Rosalina here, which will trigger both the Aroma Seraphy Jasmine and the Aroma Seraphy Magnolia. We will go ahead and take 2 as well in order to get rid of this Skull Guardian. Then we'll gain 5 off the Humid Winds before going to battle and doing well over lethal. Wow, it has combos to OTK as well. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing what else but Snake Eye, and their hand looks pretty good. Bonfire, Diabellstar, Ash, 2 pieces of non-engine. Woof. Our hand is good. We're going to begin with a copy of Unexpected Die that will summon a Loci from deck. We're going to go into the Dryas, and there is that targeted negation. Okay, we can kind of play through it. We're going to go for Small World, -1ing ourselves to get a copy of our Aroma Lilith Rosalina to our hand. That eats a Veiler. They're down to 3 cards, but we are pretty much out of place. We're going to go Glamour here in order to grab a couple of cards. That does trigger the Primula, and we can then summon the Princess. That's a negate we're going to be able to end on. We'll go Aroma Seraphy Jasmine in order to convert into a Petal, and then Petal, of course, to get a copy of Mudon to hand. From here, we'll activate Mudon, tributing the Petal in order to grab a Rika Con, and we'll set the Con. We already have the Sheet, which means we have to use the Con instead of Glamour, and we'll just pass here. We'll pass back to our opponent who draws a Thrust. That's frustrating. They'll lead Bonfire. They're going to get a copy of Popular, summoning it to their side of the field, then activating the effect in order to get the Field spell. Down comes the Divine Temple of the Snake Eye for a Flamberge and then an Ash. They're going to go Ash here into Birch. Wow, don't see that often. They'll go Populous here and then activate the effect of the Birch and the Nightmare Phoenix, fishing out this back row before anything happens. We will negate with the effect of the Princess and tribute the Ash in the process. They're going to go Diabellstar, and unfortunately this does unlock their hand. They can then go OSS to get a copy of Oak, and then Oak effect bringing back the Popular, and Flamberge summoning a couple of cards as well. This is a ton of material, but afterwards they're going to go into a Promethean Princess, which gives us a great opportunity for Sheet. They'll make Masquerena into SP Little Knight in order to banish the Con, but we're actually sitting pretty. We are not in danger of dying, and of course, like I said in the deck build, let's just go Petal at end step. Wow, rip a triple Tactics Thrust off the top. We're going to begin with the Petal for the Mudon. We'll go Mudon here, and then we can activate the Mudon. Of course, we are playing 2 copies of Con, so we can go ahead and grab that again. That's going to bait out to the SP Little Knight, which will banish the Diabellstar, and then we'll Glamour in order to get rid of the SP Little Knight. From here, we can go Lily Borea, targeting this copy of Aroma Seraphy Jasmine. Then we can activate its effect in order to grab the Disco. We'll go Triple Tactics Thrust to draw a couple of cards, but we are really in this, especially after seeing Aroma Blend. We'll take 1,000 in the process in order to get another copy of Rosalina. Then we'll tribute our opponent's monster, specialing out the Rosalina, triggering its on-field effect in order to summon a Laurel, and then going into another Aroma Seraphy Jasmine because we're about to gain life points off the Laurel. We'll go ahead and add a card from deck to hand. It's going to be the Rika Princess again. Then let's gain another 500, special summon the Rika Princess, and then afterwards use Jasmine to convert that into a copy of Lily Borea. Next, we're going to go Rosemary. We'll activate the effect of the Rosemary to get a copy of Angelica, and Angelica effect to cycle back this copy of Aroma Seraphy Jasmine and itself. We'll go for Aroma Blend to perform a fusion summon now that we're ahead of our opponent into Magnolia, and we will go ahead and remove that monster from our opponent's side of the field, proceed to the battle phase, and do well over lethal. Wow. So it's time for game 2, and God, people love boarding into the removal spell. Okay, our opponent's going first, and nice deck. They're going to set a Flamberge, set 2, and pass. We should be able to capitalize on this, even though our opponent has 3 points of interaction. We're going to Small World, that's going to fetch out an Ash Blossom. Unsurprising, we will go for Lone Fire here, which allows them to summon the Flamberge, but we will then go for Lone Fire in order to summon a Genus Loci. Okay, so I assume some number of the back row are going to be infinite impermanences, so the first thing we have to do is go ahead and get a negate. We're going to go Disco off the Lily Borea to get a copy of Regulus. We'll special the Regulus for the Lily Borea, and surprise, surprise, it's infinite impermanence. Okay, no big deal. Afterwards, we're going to go into a Dryas, which is going to fetch the other infinite impermanence, but thankfully we have exactly 1 extender. Let's go for this Rick of Glamour. In order to grab Princess, we'll special the Princess, and 2 plants makes a copy of Jasmine. Jasmine, hilariously, does not have to tribute a plant monster. It just has to summon one. So we'll go ahead and get Rosalina into Laurel Graveyard Effect, into Search, and even though our hand is looking a little bit meager now, it's going to look a lot better when we go +1. We're going to go for Laurel here to summon itself, and then we'll make a Rosemary. Rosemary's going to grab us the blend. Then afterwards, we can activate Angelica, targeting the Jasmine to gain a little more life points than Angelica's Graveyard Effect to summon itself. From here, we can go Melias into the Genus Loci, into the Bangalancer, who just loves to be tributed by Mudon exactly. We'll activate Mudon's effect in order to grab the Concon. We'll set the Concon, and then afterwards, we can go ahead and fire this copy of Aroma Blend to get a Humid Winds. Blend here is going to allow us to fusion summon, then we can go Bangalancer to summon itself. Let's go for the effect of the Rosemary in order to banish that copy of Flamberge, activate the effect of the Magnolia, and this is lethal. Let's get in and put this person back in the Divine Temple. So we're back with the deck, and nothing like clearing in 4. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, the new Aroma package offers options. It's not just extension, you can also do new combo routes or go for an OTK. Magnolia's attack boost and protection are great for going both first and second alongside her non-targeting banish. 2, the pile is very resilient to hand traps. Most extenders are great at helping find your way into the central piece of the deck, Aromaseraphy Jasmine, which will then fix your board and hand. And 3, having plentiful life gain makes you really hard to kill. And with the Rika grind, you can win games you wouldn't have if you've been at 8,000 life points. It turns out Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks are balanced around doing exactly 8,000 damage. Sometimes you just get to kind of threatening roar your opponent. And the cons. 1, the deck searches a lot. This can make Droll devastating. It is, however, better at playing through Droll than previous variants were due to the massive extenders and aromas, but still. 2, evenly matched is a real problem for the deck. If you have to play a line without Regulus on board, your only way to insulate against evenly is to discard a trap off of Aroma Blend and attach it to Hyperraton. This is like an awkward line that requires hard drawing Concon or Imperm or Sheet. And 3, decks focused on monster removal can devastate the deck. You need to get a lot of bodies on the field at once, so a card like a Guardian Chimera or a mass removal play can shut you down immediately. Overall, despite the felling of 2 Dryas, this garden pile continues to grow on me. Let's hope it gets time to bloom in the meta soon. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These videos are basically subsidized by and occasionally suggested by my Patreons. If that's something that's interesting to you, please check out the link in the description. For now, I'd like to shout out my high-tier patrons, including Elena Tincher, Alex Perea, Allison Elliott, Brett Henry, Canner, Seaweed, Darkmaster Zork, Derp and Dragon, Devin Senpai, DJ Elephant, Enraged Peacock, Gravity, Half Miss, John Piet, Juan Cruz Avila Zati, Night Mary, Legal Rights, Luis Hernandez, Matthew M. Derezzo, MBT Play Madolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Puffin of Doom, Rabout, Rose Lapine, Solar Flare the Ricka Queen, Troy Says By Erasure is Gay, Vincent Storm, Who's Nick, Wonder Waffle, Your Pot of Greed Does What, and Yuki. I couldn't have done it without you.